You know, every once in a while you see Hitler and you smile. And this is what this movie did to me.
It's very rare that Hitler causes a smile, but I too smiled at the sight of Hitler during this movie.
Not only did I smile, but I went, yeah!
We all of a sudden had boots and we clipped our heels together.
Dude.
We're like, what's going on?
It wasn't good.
Anyway, the spirit of Hitler in us aside, we're going to talk about The King's Man, a prequel to the Kingsman series, which, just for full disclosure here, we loved the shit out of the first one, and we wanted to kick the second one in the fucking nuts.
It wasn't good.
Because it sucked to the maximum degree, man. They took everything that was good and did too much of the stuff that you think you want in sequels, but as it turns out, you don't. Anyway, we were hoping that this one would correct course, and a big stride towards that was that it's a prequel, so we can totally not have to deal with whatever the fuck happened in the second one. And for me,
oh yeah, obviously,
this is like a dream come true.
You have a bizarre obsession with Rasputin.
Dude,
that has started ever since, I don't know, when did that start?
I was very young when I started sucking on Rasputin's mythically long penis.
Would he have loved you? Is that how young you were?
I don't know, dude. He was all about conniving his way to getting boned.
That's a good point.
So maybe he would have been like,
this guy has no power. He sucks.
Yeah, I don't think it was into fat guys either. No, yeah, I've been a Rasputinite. So look, I love history in general.
Yeah,
but I'm a World War II guy more than anything, right? Because of the aforementioned Hitler.
Yeah, we mentioned your tons and tons of books
of Hitler
books.
Not World War II, just Hitler.
Yeah. It's a bunch of hits.
For anyone that hasn't known us, we don't like Hitler. No, it's a joke.
He's not cool.
Super uncool, some would say.
I think
he's not as cool as this.
let me just get out a controversial opinion as you do that. We might get canceled for this one, but Hitler, kind of a rapscallion, dude. He was kind of a butt.
Look, I know, guy. Like, nobody wants to hear it, but he was an asshole.
Yeah, like...
No, but look, I'm a big fan of history, and anybody that's a fan of history likes them a good war. Maybe not during their time, but it's just fucking interesting, guy. Yeah. So already you had me at this is going to take place during World War I, all right? Then you reveal that Rasputin is a fucking character in this. I'm already whacking off, and I haven't even seen the movie yet, right? Yeah. But I was worried, I gotta say.
It was part 2, dude.
My boy, yeah, well, first of all, yeah. Part 2 of Kingsman sucked nuts, so that's a big worry, you know. But the other thing was, don't do my boy dirty.
Yeah.
Don't do fucking Rasputin dirty, guy. Now, I gotta say, Rasputin had a pretty good cinematic history. He's always portrayed... If the movie sucks, he always ends up being kind of cool. But maybe that's just my Rasputin bias. Yeah, but I gotta say that this Rasputin was, you know, for as kind of wild as the Kingsman movies are, he's pretty loyal to how Rasputin was.
Yeah, I was about to say... Well, first of all, pretty obvious if you weren't turned off by our obvious love of Hitler.
Hashtag still a joke.
Super mega freaking spoilers up ahead.
Oh, yeah, we're going to spoil the shit out of this.
I feel like there's a point where this movie might lose certain people. There's 2 points in specific.
Mm-hmm.
One that I'm sure we'll get to at some point. But the first being Rasputin's Insanity. I feel like his scene borders on extreme goofiness, but apparently it's like, you know, just a normal day in Rasputin's life. Rasputin's life.
This is a much more like glum movie compared to the other 2 movies. There's still humor in it, but it's much more understated and much more in terms of the weird stuff that happens more than, you know, kind of like... I'd say the humor's dry, way dry in this one compared to the other ones.
I don't like my videos.
Yeah, your videos are moist and stinky.
Super wagging.
But yeah, man, Rasputin is one of those things in this movie that does go to that, you know, over the top nature a lot more than anything else. But yeah, you know, I even told you during the movie, it's kind of how he acted. You know, he was prone to be very in your face.
I feel like
lecherous, irreverent. He did all that shit on purpose, and it worked for him apparently. So
I feel like even if I had hated this movie, which I guess spoiler I didn't. Well, actually, I guess the spoiler was when I said I would smile when I saw Hitler. There's only one reason why I would, and it's if I liked the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Or he was a hottie, which he wasn't. So
or Hitler was an unhottie.
Yeah, man. I feel like if he was a hottie, a lot of the things he did would have been forgiven.
You know what?
Right?
It sounds controversial, but if Hitler was a hottie, I think people would be like, like that stupid idiot that done killed some people or something.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, free him. He's hot.
Just because he's hot.
I have a feeling some people would be like, nah, guy, come on. We got to forgive him. 6 million? Come on, guy.
Yeah.
It wasn't 7 million.
He's just getting started.
You know what I'm saying? But he's not. So everybody's like, fuck Hitler. And rightfully so.
Yeah.
Let's thank the gods that Hitler wasn't a hottie, because then we'd be in some deep shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, still a joke, guys. Yeah. We're Mexican. It would be foolish of us to like Hitler. But anyway, so what were we saying? Something about Hitler?
Derailed by Hitler. I think it had nothing to do with Hitler. Actually.
No, it had absolutely zero to do with Hitler.
Well, I got derailed.
Rasputin. You were talking about Rasputin.
Oh yeah. Even if I had disliked this movie, the one I would have given it this massive kudo, and that's that it has a scene in which there is a man, the man being Rasputin in this case, power eating. I'm a fan of power moves. I feel like I try to do them every once in a while, and I always fail at them
miserably.
But this was a pretty cool power move, and this guy just ate a freaking poison cake, and it was hilarious to look at.
That was one of my favorite things as a Rasputin fan
Sucking
of renown, and that one I'm not joking about, by the way. Love Rasputin. You are not kidding. Love the man. My favorite historical figure.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, dude.
Fucking yeah. I love the way they spun the Kingsman into the infamous attempted murder of Rasputin, which was interesting to say the least. And I also love how they drew they still left a vague implication that there was something odd about Rasputin, something mystical about him, because that's kind of what history left us behind. As much as we know that he was a manipulator and that he just found ways to work people, various ways, there was definitely something fucking strange about him. And they worked that into the movie. I loved it, man. Rasputin, I loved. But he is literally a mini boss in this movie. Yeah. So let's put Rasputin aside. This is something. Oh, well, first, before we get there, in case you're not familiar with what's going on in the Kingsman, it's basically, typical of the Kingsman movies. We have a over-the-top, interesting villain, colorful villain that gets to James Bondian levels of madness, right? In this case, though, they integrated into history, so you are either gonna go and completely ignore history, or you're gonna try to sew it into history. And they really fucking go out of their way to sew a bunch of interesting characters by making them the main villain's minions. And the main villain's intent and purpose here is basically vengeance against England. And he through his minions, which include Rasputin, what was his name? Hanussen, a famous German basically a German fucking Rasputin, basically.
Gornak,
I think. Of course, Alfred DuPont from America, Mata Hari. They introduce all these relevant historical figures of the time and weave them into this villain's machinations. And that's super fucking cool, in my opinion, because they found really clever and fun ways to reinvent history, and they made it work, dude. I don't know how the fuck they did it, but for a fan of this stuff, it's just a joygasm, So I really love that shit. But anyway, that villain basically instigates a world war in his bid for vengeance against England, and of course that leads inadvertently to the creation of the Kingsman. So this is kind of an origin story, and apparently it's supposed to be a trilogy, but this feels like a complete thing.
It does.
Like, that's one great thing. I know we have a lot of movies recently, some better than others, where they just are a setup and then they leave you kind of high and dry because they didn't do well or whatever. This one feels like that's it, like you got enough information. And it didn't do very well at the box office because it got delayed a million times, and then dude, the ad sucked.
Yeah, they were bad.
When I was seeing
you were a Rasputin fan, and we're Boney M fans. And when they put out that Boney M
Rasputin teaser
crossover, you were like, "What is this?"
Yeah, I was like, "They're gonna fuck my boy," but they didn't. In fact, he wanted to fuck.
Boys.
But yeah, ironically. But anyway, fucking, it didn't look good, and a lot of people just were like, "Fuck this," and you know, it's getting a kind of a big streaming platform push. So do catch it because it's a hella fun. But if we don't get the other two movies, this feels like a cool, complete fucking chapter.
I can kind of see why maybe some people find it as a tonal change, as in the series, because it is
big time.
Especially after part 2, which was just too stupid for its own good. But in the movie itself, it actually isn't. I saw some people complain about the tonal weirdness, and I disagree. In the movie, it kind of feels like it belongs all together.
Absolutely.
Except for one scene.
Which is?
Don't get me wrong, I love this scene with a passion, but I could see someone being like, "I'm out," and it's that goat sequence.
Let's just say that goats play a very important,
super important
role in this movie. I loved it myself.
Yeah, it was great.
You know, yeah, but you're right. You know, I have noticed that some people have really pushed against the fact that this is totally, completely different from the other two. Or I wouldn't say completely. There's still humor. There's still weird shit. The structure, the skeleton is there. But the other two, and as you said, especially Golden Circle, were very humor forward. And this one is not. And that's exactly why I love it. But that's exactly why some people will not like it. But I think it helps that it's in a completely different time. Yeah. Because, you know, the whole thing with the Kingsman movies is that this character that brought a lot of cultural clash into the Kingsman is what made that dynamic work. And there is no such character in this time. They're all gentlemen. They're all proper and prim Englishmen and what have you. So it's a different monster, but it's very much in the same universe, and it feels very much like it belongs here. It has the dynamic action, it has the weird over the topness, just not pushed to insane comedic levels.
Yeah,
you know. So just go into it with an open mind. If you want that type of humor from the first two, you're not gonna exactly get that, but you are gonna get a fucking awesome movie, in my opinion. But anyway, what else? Good, bad, ugly?
Good. Always in my world is Jaimin, which we found out in the commentary for Gladiator, from your boy Russell Crowe. That's how you say his name, Jaimin, not Jimon.
Yeah, we always thought it was Jimon Hanzo.
We were super wrong. And by the way, Russell Crowe claims that if you call him Jimon, he hates you for it.
Yeah.
So either Jaimin was playing a joke on Russell.
Russ is the only guy calling him that.
Yeah, or we're morons. But anyway, Jaimin was pretty rad in this. Actually, they were all pretty cool. All the side people were pretty rad.
Everybody's cool in this guy. Even Hitler.
Hitler was not cool in this. I gotta be honest. He's only in it for a second, but he did crack a smile in my face because I was like, "Oh, that's cool. It's a cool setup for something." But yeah, everybody's pretty rad. Dude, I'm not gonna lie, Raspy, though he dies pretty early, and I was kind of like, "Oh man, he's gonna die so early." They made his death worth it. It was pretty rad.
It's cool, man. And what's awesome about this movie, it feels like you're watching an entire first season miniseries of something. You know, it really runs the gamut in terms of time covered, you know. Technically, it's covered from 1902 to 1917, but really we're talking like 1914 to 1917. And that's a long time, and it does it fucking well, you know, and it never loses a pace. And there's something that a lot of movies have a problem with, is making the middle of the movie work at the same rate that the other two do. This motherfucking movie has something in the middle that I don't know about you, but it literally left me like, what the fuck? They did that. And fuck it, since we're spoiling it, they kill a character in this movie that you're 100% sure, at least I was, this character is going to be, he's not going to die. And if he dies, it's not going to be at this point.
It's again a time-honored tradition in the Kingsman movies at this point to kill a character that you know is not gonna die, but it did it again, and you're still like, damn, homie.
It still feels pretty fucking impactful, especially
unlike Merlin's death, where you're like, oh, come on, dude. He was like the only good thing in this movie.
Yeah.
This one's like, oh man.
Yeah, this guy, since unlike Merlin was super cool. We're talking about Merlin in the original movies. Merlin was super cool, and part 2 was such a fucking shitty disappointment. And then they kill him, and you want to kill yourself because they kill him, because you're like, guy, why would you do that? But yeah, this guy is in the movie where you like everybody, everything's working, and then they kill him. And you might think like that sounds bad, but no, because it's an impetus for everything else. But it builds up so fucking well, and they do it right after a moment where, if you're watching the movie, even for a Kingsman movie, even for a movie of this style, you're thinking like, God, he survived all that? Come on, guy. And then they do it, and you're like, fuck. And it was so good, man. And you know, the reaction from his father in this movie, I don't know, man. I felt it. It was cool. It was like an actual emotional moment in the movie. I gotta
say, it's weird to say that a Kingsman movie, or really a movie like this, would cause that reaction, but this was like one of the few times that I felt something in a war movie. I mean, it's weird to call it a war movie, but it kind of is a war movie.
It is, yeah.
Where you kind of feel like the weight of what's going on, even though this is kind of a lighter tone. I mean, compared to other movies, you do feel like the weight of freaking the deaths and all that shit that's going on, and all the stuff that's going on in the war. You kind of feel it, and that's like that moment in particular is like in a personal way.
I think the reason you feel it is because the character's moral the main character, Ray Fiennes, which is fucking fantastic in this, by the way, especially considering his age. You're like, man, this guy's ripping and roaring through this movie, but his character has such a strong moral compass, and he's a pacifist basically. And it's the result of him having seen war. And, you know, his moral compass drives the people around him, even his son, who is at conflict with him at times, because he wants to, like a lot of people, like a lot of young men, experience the world not knowing exactly what's out there. But the moral compass of his characters is so admirable that you feel the impact of the surrounding events, because, you know, wars are horrible. And everything that they bring, so it actually feels like you say, like momentous, the things that are going on.
And then there's a scene where he's he's running in the trenches and he falls and he starts crying, and you're like, oh damn, homie. There's like some really like weirdly effective scenes in the war sequences, I guess.
And what's cool is that what you see of the war proper is such a small portion. Yeah,
like really small.
But it feels like the you know, as it should, the ghost, I guess, of the war is felt throughout the entirety. And that's cool, because this is about preventing a war.
That's what I'm saying. You feel it throughout the movie, even though it's, you know, it's mostly spoken about by people. But, you know, like, people are talking about all the deaths that have happened and everything. And, you know, that homie in the boat's like, man, all these people dying, that's not cool.
Yeah.
And he's a little jig, I think.
Sometimes exposition will ruin a movie, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes it can be used as a great weapon, so to speak. And this movie is one of those where it just, I don't know, dude, it really amps you up to hear all this and see how the puzzle, all the pieces of the puzzle fit together. And for, again, if you're a fan of the historical things that happen, it's fun to see that stuff remixed into this crazy fucking Kingsman world. Fucking loved it, dude. There's great fucking action sequences in this. I would argue, I'll be honest with you, I think this is the best Kingsman movie. I know some people are gonna balk at that, but I think it's the best one.
I think it's the best one. I still like the first one more, just because it's up my alley. But I think this is the best one.
Yeah, it's fucking badass. Like, it could stand on its own without the other two having ever been seen, which, you know, it's kind of a hard thing to accomplish with a prequel.
Man, my icons are going crazy. Pointless thing to bring up.
Yep. I was like, okay.
Anyway,
and one of the things that the movies are renowned for, especially the first one, are these really, really intense, cool looking, awesomely shot action sequences. And, man, those, in my opinion, those were lacking in Golden Circle, the second one. They were there, but there was so much in between them, and that stuff wasn't cool. And when they got there, you were just kind of like, okay, that was all right. There's nothing like the first one. This has action sequences that, though they keep in style and rhythm with what's going on in the Kingsman universe, they feel very much their own as well. Maybe it's the context of the war. I don't know what it is, but they have their own color and flavor, you know. And they're super cool because of it. And one of my favorite ones is the one that takes place between the trenches. You know, it's just fucking cool. I mean, I won't even talk about it.
There's a guy, there's a German with a freaking spike, which is a weapon that you would definitely see.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna put Germans in your movie, even though they're not World War II Germans, they gotta have gas masks and weird weapons that make absolutely no sense, and they do that here. And it's badass, dude. It's a fight that takes place, you know, with like the prerequisite of silence. Like if we make a sound, all hell's gonna break loose. And it's just fucking badass, guy. And there's so many of those in there. The final fight, you know, has a lot of that tension. But oddly enough, that's where you get also kind of like one of the bigger overtures of comedy in that final fight. But it's super cool. The goat's super important to that final battle, apparently. But, yeah, I think the battles, which I found very lacking in Golden Circle here, have stepped up to what I think is the standard of Kingsman.
I don't know what happened with part 2, man.
It was ass, guy.
Yeah.
The less we think about that guy.
Let's just blame Fox.
And it's weird. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, I know some people like it, but I feel like it's because they loved Kingsman so much. I remember when we went to go see it, there was I guess it was a father and his son, and hearing their conversation afterward, that's all I got from it. Like, we liked the first one, and we're saying things that are trying to convince ourselves that we like this one, but the air and everything else they said was, this sucked, didn't it? You know?
It's like after we saw Kingdom of Crystal Skull, we were like,
we don't want...
We like Indy.
Yeah, we like Indiana Jones, we thought, but then after a few weeks, we were like, we can't pretend to defend that. Not that we did much, but I think we wanted desperately to. But it sucked. But this one, you don't have to, at least in my opinion, I feel no need to do that. I felt... Not that I do
goat sequence, dude. I can't trying to bite my tongue, but that goat sequence, even if I had hated that film, that goat sequence got me. It's so stupid that it's great.
It's great. Goats, important. Again, we could spoil that, but we won't. But anyway.
No, you just gotta watch the goat sequence. Well, really watch the whole movie, not just this goat sequence.
I think there's one thing lacking in this movie.
Oh, shit.
And it's Djimon Hounsou's
ass.
Magical ass.
I agree.
We got a lot of his ass in Gladiator.
Dude, so much ass.
And I feel like we should have gotten assless chaps in this.
Man, Djimon looking good he's got to be all up there in age, right?
Black don't crack, guy.
Man, he's in everything, too. He's transcending multiverses.
He's in everything, guy. The Djimon verse is real.
It is.
Gemma Arterton plays a female Kingsman, which I know is probably going to trigger some people. That's a thing now. But... I think she's a really cool addition to this, and it was kind of like, she's kind of like the one that gets the least screen time, but yeah, she's cool, man. She's really cool in this, and she doesn't feel, shoehorned in like we've seen in some projects where they're, where they do just kind of feel like the obligation to stick something in for the sake of diversity or PC culture or whatever the fuck. Yeah, she's super cool. Ray Fiennes, as aforementioned, badass. Djimon, great ass,
huge ass.
The score in this, loved it.
Sounds like The Mummy at times for some reason.
Yeah,
that was weird.
I really got to enjoy it more the second time seeing it, and yeah, it's super cool, man. Visuals look fantastic, guy. Definitely better than Golden Circle. Some shit just look some robot. Pure anus.
I gotta say that a huge plus is that it doesn't have Elton John in it. And don't get me wrong, I don't hate Elton John. I kind of hate Elton John sometimes.
He was kind of one of the best things in Golden
Circle. That's bad. Dude.
when fucking Elton John is one of the best things in your movie. That's bad. And that was Golden Circle.
Yeah. We gotta rewatch it, but that was a bad movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like always, give it a second chance. I will, but that's one of the ones where I feel it's not gonna change much. What else, guy? What else you gonna?
That's all I got. I got goats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're cool.
You got anything else?
Not really, guy. They did my boy right.
They did fucking happy, but they did goats right.
They did goats right. Yeah, man. This movie is just fucking fun, dude. It's a delight. I hope that it does well on streaming so that we might actually get to see more of this iteration of the Kingsman because they're fucking badass.
Yeah.
And some of these people are not getting younger, so probably would be good to make it soon. But we don't know. Either way, I'm very content with this particular product. Just a fucking blast, guy. Just a fucking blast, gang. And I'll be honest with you, it was even more fun the second time around.
You whack off?
I whacked off, guy. I'm not gonna lie, dude. When the fucking Rasputin, there was moments of Rasputinness that fulfilled my Rasputin love so much.
Do you whacked off?
I didn't whack off, guy, but I felt like spiritually I whacked off.
God,
I was like, I don't know. This is great.
I don't know if that's gay or not.
I mean, it might be, but I don't give a shit.
Is that gay?
Dude, he was gliding around.
What was that glide, man?
That's a glide,
I was going to call out his glide, but then he got called out in the movie.
There's a great repartee between him and Ray Fiennes in this. It really played off well. Really enjoyable to watch.
Dude, that power eat.
A power eat.
Well, you got to go top moment in the movie.
Top moment. That's rough, man. That trench sequence is really cool in terms of action.
Yeah.
But, yeah, really for me, as a Rasputinite, I mean, the whole interchange with Rasputin, it was just so fucking cool to see. That's just a bias because I'm a Rasputin guy.
Though I agree with you, I'm going to go with the power eat or the goat.
The goat moment is the goat?
Yeah, dude. Especially the one that's like...
Dude, that goat was stretched, guy.
Dude, that homie goat. And then he gets used as a catapult.
I like how we ruined everything except for the goat. We're just vaguely referring to goat sequence.
You gotta watch the goat. It can't be
This is a great movie. Look, and like you said earlier, some people will find it pretty dense. And that'll turn them off. And I mean that because it does draw a lot from history. I mean, it's remixing it. It's revising it to another shape. But it does stick to the occurrences and the repercussions of these events somewhat. So if you don't know that, you have a lot to consume as the movie goes along. So, I mean, Americans barely know their own history, guy, We grew up in fucking America with shitty public school. 99% of the people are like, what? They don't even know the Declaration of Independence or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
I know that guy that put a whalebone in his penis. He signed it.
That's the best part of Declaration of Independence related history.
Yeah.
Whalebone penis guy whose name you don't even remember, other than the
Governor Morris.
Governor Morris guy stuck a damn whalebone in his penis and died because of it. That's the best part of history we know in America. Yeah. But, if Americans can't be bothered to learn extensively about their own history, imagine European history.
Yeah.
But if you do like that stuff, you're going to have a lot of fun off the cuff.
And I do think that the movie does a pretty decent job of letting you know stuff that you need to know. Or actually a really good job of stuff that you need to know. And the stuff that you should know is not super confusing.
I'll say this. If you're hella freaking borderline dumb, read, if you will, you're gonna have a rough time.
Yeah.
But if you just listen to the movie, you'll catch on. Don't worry. It does a good job of explaining it. It just might take a little bit there, but it's so worth it. But if you are more aware of those events, off the cuff, you're gonna enjoy it. Now, if you're in that middle category that I just said the second time, you'll enjoy it even fucking more because you'll be aware of what the fuck. But yeah, there's definitely going to be a contingent of people that are, are like, because of that. And as aforementioned, the kind of like different tone.
Yeah.
But
I could see that being a bigger thing because people did like the first one so much.
Yeah. But yeah, fucking loved it. Rating on a scale of 1 to 10 for me is a 10er, guy. Super fun. Just a fucking joygasm of everything that I fucking love. Packed into this movie. Loved it. You?
Yeah, I'll get a mad 10. That's it.
There you go. Pretty cool elaboration.
I
I was hoping for one because I'm mad burping over
You're
here.
burping like a mug for some reason.
No respect. Anyway,
You brought Rodney in there.
I'm just going to point out that you're wearing a JoJo
I'm wearing a
Siwa shirt.
JoJo Siwa shirt. I get no respect. Dude, some cretin looked at me weird because I was wearing a JoJo Siwa shirt.
Well, you are a fat man over the age of 20 wearing a fucking JoJo Siwa shirt. So
I'm a fan.
I'm going to go ahead and say
I'm a Siwa-nator.
you're going to get some stares, gang.
Yeah.
It's like if I wore this boy out, definitely going to wear some stares. Although I would wear this boy out, but only if I had a, like a fucking cassock so I could fucking float around.
Oh, yeah, dude.
So anyway.
We brought that back around. I like it.
Nah, it's just what I would do. I wasn't trying to bring it back around.
It's
Literally
what
what
you do.
is required for me to wear this in public is
All right.
floating around, guy. Anyway, yeah, if you haven't seen Kingsman, I pity you because you just listened to a bunch of rambling mess.
Man, we ruined it. Except for the goat scene.
We didn't ruin
that.
the goat scene. We definitely ruined the mid-credit sequence, which shows Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, man.
Which again, by the way,
Sucks.
if you're a fan of history, I'm sorry,
It's just a rap
you're
guy.
gonna be like, well, yeah. Aside from the fact that he's a bad guy, you're gonna be like, that's gonna be a cool movie because, and quote me on this, Nazis are the greatest villains you could possibly conjure up in a movie because they fucking suck.
Yeah.
So like
I remember this one time. I don't want to derail you.
uh
I remember this one time I said that. Almost word for word to a teacher. And she gave me the stink eye. And I was like, what are you, a Nazi? I didn't say this, mind you, but I thought it. What are you, a Nazi lover?
Yeah,
what is that?
I feel like people are forgetting that fiction works in a completely different world.
Yeah, come on, guy.
Like, you can abide a Nazi in the confines of fiction because they're going to make your heroes all the better when they kick their ass. Real life, fuck them.
Yeah, they're not cool.
Fiction, hell yeah. Well, because they're going to kick their ass, not because of the ideology,
they're not
which
cool.
is fucking horrible.
Yeah, terrible.
Felt I need to clear that up.
Very uncool.
But anyway, let us know what you think about fucking the King's Man.
Oh, okay.
Not just fucking.
Yeah.
Unless it's related to Rasputin, in which case I'd like to know.
By
the way, just added bonus here. Fucking Lennon is in this movie.
Yeah.
And he looks like one of my boys.
Yeah, he's got big ass head.
Big ass head, looking like a dweeb. But anyway, we're out, guys.
Yep.